Paul Grüninger was a Swiss police commander during the World War II era. He was born October 27, 1891 and died February 22, 1972. He was in charge of border control in the St. Gallen area, a region that bordered Austria. He was responsible for saving the lives of over 3,600 Jews. These lives were saved because Grüninger allowed the desperate refugees access to Switzerland during a period where the Swiss government decided to refuse Jews access to the country in an effort to protect the country's neutrality. He helped Jews remain undetected and aided in the transportation of their valuables. Grüninger also falsified the dates of entry on passports to before March 1938, as after this time, entrance to the country would be strictly prohibited. This is so that the refugees' entrance into the country could be fully legalized. Paul legally allowed people of Jewish descent to cross the Swiss border between August 1938 and April 1939. His activities did not go unnoticed, and Grüninger's actions were eventually discovered. On April 3, 1939, when he arrived for work, the entrance to the police station was blocked. Although, as chief of the police, this was unprecedented, Grüninger immediately recognized that his actions had been discovered. Months before, he had been warned he was under investigation by the Gestapo, yet Paul continued to illegally falsify documents for Jewish refugees from Austria all the way right up to his arrest. In March 1939, he was dismissed from the police force. After a lengthy trial, he was found guilty of breach of duty and was forced to pay for the costs of the trial as well as a fine. He also had his retirement benefits stripped away. As a person who had been convicted of a criminal offense, Grüninger discovered it was very difficult to find employment. He lived the rest of his life in poverty. As previously mentioned, Grüninger operated around the St. Gallen area in Switzerland. He was responsible for regulating and restricting travel from Austria. An important reason that makes Grüninger's story so special is that he chose to do what was right when everyone else was content to do what was wrong. There were not many people who decided to place the good of humanity in front of their own needs the way Grüninger did. He didn't gain money or immediate recognition for his actions. The reason he chose to save the lives of the people he did is because he had face-to-face contact with refugees and the people in need. To quote Stefan Keller, a Swiss journalist and historian, Grüninger made a big mistake. He had no barriers. Refugees came to him right up to the door of his office, sometimes on their knees, and asked for help. He did nothing to separate himself from the people. The other police chiefs didn't do this. They delegated. They made the decisions and delegated the responsibility to others. It's easy to ignore a problem when you don't feel its consequences. Grüninger saw firsthand the consequences his actions would have. The fact that he chose to interact with these refugees face-to-face and develop intimate relationships with them meant that it was much harder emotionally to turn them away.